life. I really don't. And I know that I don't want school finance to be buried. They're hoping this is successful too. But that's am I going to say this is 100% perfect? I thought the last one was 100% perfect. I'm standing in front of you and telling you, nope. Okay, so this is the AZEDS to SACE 2.0 steps. You return off AZEDS to SACE. LEA submits all transaction to AZEDS. And this is if you're on AZEDS. LEA validate all transactions in AZEDS. Make sure it matches your SIS, because where's the passbook? Turn on AZEDS to SACE 2.0 process for that LEA. LEAs validate SACE to ensure they all got there. And we'll continue to run AZEDS to SACE 2.0 through the month of June. So that as you find errors that might be on your SIS, you can fix them. Because that happens all June anyway, right? Is that what you guys do in June? Just fix errors?
Okay, so you're saying this discrepancy between AZEDS and SACE that we've tried for months in several state SACE aggregations and cannot convince the SACE system of what is correct in AZEDS, won't transfer. This should alleviate some of that discrepancy?
Yes, ma'am. To reemphasize what she said, and you're one of those that's been frustrated trying to make SACE right. Thank you. And I'm sorry at the same time. And it's my fault. So you can roast me in the backyard. But you might want to wait until we're done with this. AZEDS to SACE has been frustrating all of you because you've tried to square up SACE. But AZEDS look right. That's what I heard her say. AZEDS is right. I told you we did good. There are some issues, but this should fix this. This should fix it. Yes, ma'am.
Just clarification question. So it used to be the case that June 30th, the year has to be correct. Because SACE shuts down, etc., etc.
Same thing.
So this year, SACE shuts down again on 15-16. How about AZEDS? Is AZEDS shut down for 15-16 as well? Or can we make corrections for 15-16 after June 30th in AZEDS?
No.
So both of
This year they both shut down. Next year, different story.
Okay.
We had to start at a square, right? We had to start at a 0. And that's what July 1st is. Yes, ma'am? Microphones around if you could get it.
Thank you.
Because everybody's going to have similar questions and it helps.
So we transferred to AZEDS in October.
And I'm really sorry. You're one of those hardworking people. Thank you. What district?
Ridgelight Academy, we're a charter school.
Thank you so much for what you guys did. You helped us. Everybody here in this room should clap for being like this. And Norm and Power School and all the people, Kevin and there's so many people that I wish I could thank for all the things you've taught me.
Well, and this is more of a comment than a question. I've had to figure things out myself because unfortunately there's no training. So I would like to see some training for AZEDS because there is no training. I call finance all the time. And one thing that, okay, so I was told that all I had to do was AZEDS in October, so I didn't check my SACE until March.
And how off were you? A lot?
We were not getting paid for our ELL and SPED students.
Okay. Well, let's talk ELL and SPED separate.
So again, I'm all for AZEDS. All I have to do is click, sync, do my error report. I'm happy. Go in, check my.
What you're not happy is the transfer to SACE.
But I was told all I had to look at was AZEDS, and I was in big trouble. So
No, we're not going to let you suffer. We're going to make Lyle's
I had to
team.
fix it. It took several weeks, but if we could have some training, like what is the first step? Like you press this button, do I mean, because I'm not a techie person, and I had to call your poor finance group. I mean, everyone knew me, I was like, okay, this isn't working. I mean, we were just, yeah.
I'm sorry.
People were calling me to make sure I was okay. They hadn't heard from me in a day. That's what I feel. They're like, are you okay?
Okay, so school finance really wants to do training. And they're buried by phone calls right now. So there's got to be a balance between, let's get some training done, because we really need to do some training this summer. And we'd love to partner with your group, ASCUS, to do training. And the school finance ran training, because they're the ones that answer your phone calls. But that's, I agree with you, and thank you.
Mark, one thing that might help, I understand prioritizing from a sheer numbers perspective on errors from IT perspective, that makes a lot of sense. But one of the pain points that a lot of districts are experiencing this year is the fact that charter schools are paid on real-time data. And the issues, the three big issues we've found is the FTE and DOR errors in the SACE sync, because that directly impacts the membership data and that impacts what charter schools are getting paid, where the attendance not so much. So would it be possible to maybe take the financial impact into consideration when prioritizing these things? The other big pain point is, I know the special ed stuff is from a numbers perspective, it's much smaller.
But it's bigger money.
But it's bigger money, yes. And right now, even AZEDS is not handling, if a kid changes SPED needs mid-year, AZED's not handling it, and neither is SACE. And that's had a huge financial impact on us.
So what I need is you to define, not in here,
Okay.
is to meet with this young man, tall guy over here, and really describe it, or one of my team. I need a very specific example.
Okay, and tickets are open, we have.
I realize that, but there's lots of tickets open.
Yes, I know.
And I heard you, but I want to understand it, and I can't stand up here, I'm the wrong guy to stand up here and try to understand what I'm way dumber. And, but you have a good question, but does everybody understand the difference in what SPED law says and how SACE calculated? Okay, and this is off script for a minute, so that's for the record. But I need that as a question. I need SPED documented as the law is, and so what is the SPED law? What's the impact versus SACE versus AZEDS? Because it's big. But for 10 years it was coded wrong. 15 years. I'm not going to answer for school finance. I'm just going to say what.
To their rules. Code according to their rules.
And we coded according to the rules of the law. And this was Lyle who told us what the law is. So I'm not going to tell you, I'm going to let this get documented. And then sent to everybody. So you understand there is a difference in SACE and AZEDS based on how the law was interpreted. And the law was read by, we had JLBC in the room, we had districts in the room, we had governor's representatives, we had our school finance people in the room, and they went through every rule. It doesn't mean that we're humans. There's things that some of the humans do. This is not an IT thing now. This belongs to school finance, so we'll give this document. Yes, ma'am.
We had a situation where,
Thank you.
the ABCDEF ratings for schools are based on a point system.
Accountability.
A few of those points come from whether your SPED count that you told them in December matches up with the SPED count in SACE in, I believe it was like 3 or 4 weeks ago, for the 10-day count. We didn't get those points because it was correct in AZEDS, but it was wrong in SACE. Will there be a recourse?
Yeah, it's, accountability, we've already done this in accountability. So we pulled both systems and put the stuff together because it also affects federal payments. So we knew that this was a problem and we did this behind the scenes so that we do not affect you. But I want to take that question and further validate that. When it comes to SPED, this needs to be school finance. I'm not, it's a law, I write code. You tell me what the law says, I write code. I could still screw up the code, understand that. Because we're human. Yes, ma'am. Back over here.
I know somebody from school finance, or Lyle's not here today, but when are they gonna have, or do you know when they're gonna have the manual ready for us?
Well, they're probably gonna ask me to help them, so.
Well, they've been working on it, it's in draft form, but a lot of the stuff you're talking about today and the rules that are changing are gonna be in that manual, and we really need that before school starts.
So when is the manual gonna be ready from school finance, and they need it before school starts?
Thank you.
And it's so different with the different districts.
I know, July 1st is what you're saying.
Hi, we've started a dropout recovery program at our charter school this year. Is there a plan to pull
Good question.
reporting?
Excellent.
Yes. Okay,
Pull
like,
the reporting method, the dropout recovery program, which is in a secured data form now, into this?
Good question. Will dropout recovery be automated, is the question,
Yes.
in July? All your vendors have had version 2.1 of EdFi API, 2.2. And in there is dropout recovery, military flag, and what's the other one? Grand Canyon. All those three are in there. Your vendor is required to be compliant by July 1st. They were notified earlier this year. So I'm hoping that that answer will be yes, but we'll have to, you know,
Yeah.
it's a vendor issue, but the API is out there, the sandbox is out there, it's been ready. It's up to the vendor to test it and be able to submit it.
Because we're on Synergy, and we're doing our transition next week. So I just need to know that so I can bring that up in our discussion.
Bring that up in your discussion.
Thank you.
But that is in version 2. And there's a new one being released for the vendors, heads up in the room. 2.3 is it documented? 2.3? Okay, but it's got to be a fast one because it ties to student-teacher course. In order for you to do AZ merit testing, it's where, I turned it off. I'm dysfunctional. Get somebody of those computers in here. It ties to student course teacher in order to do AZ merit correctly. It was something that was missed. It's a field that we're adding to the API to work with the vendors to get in. We don't need it before AZ merit fall, but we're trying to work that one also. Okay, so let me move quickly, because I know that is my time ticking, or are you kidding? I don't want to piss off your bosses. I have mine all the time pissed off, so I can get it. Our districts that have open 15915s, these are your questions. I'm reading them because I'm not allowed to do anything other than read them. Able to transition at this time. ADE is allowing LEAs to transition if they have an open 915. All right? But if it's an open 915, there's some complications that you should talk to your school finance advisor about. But yes, we are allowing it. But you should talk to your school finance advisor, because if it's like there's a point where you get funding and you don't just change his accountability. So I'm not the one to advise on that. What consequences will an LEA face if they refuse to transition to AZ? I think I read this to you pretty much. August 1st and September 1st state aid payments for FY17 will be based on FY16 AEM. See, we're even given this so you can take this back to read. Beginning with the October 1st payment, FY17 payments will be based on FY17 AEM. SPED and ELL data and SACE will not be an option. Okay? Payment systems will use the available FY17 data to determine state aid. School finance will make every effort to make the most accurate payment possible, as they has historically done for charters over the years. We're not letting anybody go broke, ever. All right? Who's got the checkbook, the passbook, that knows what their balance is? You do. If we're going to have if there's issues in rules, we'll work through them. But they're yours to deal with. and letting us know when we're working. Next slide. Will ADE agree not to move AZ's data to SACE after transition is complete? I'm not going to read all that. Yes. We now have the ability to turn off AZ's to SACE. Chandler asked for that, and we did it. So that they, obviously their data is good in their mind, and they don't want it to be corrupted. I get it. I get it. How will data be reconciled for LAs at transition after May aggregation? Or will AZ data be pushed back to SACE? The AZ's to SACE process 2.0 that I just talked about will be working. Again, that's vaporware right now. But I have very good confidence in my team. They're going to get it done. What will FY16 SACE data be used for in light of FY17 current year funding? FY16 SACE data will be used for federal reporting and other program area reports. ADE will use FY17 AZ's data to calculate current year funding for both districts and charters as required by statute. Please explain how data submission changes from year to year will work. For example, a district starts submitting FY15-16 data in April, then needs to change FY16-17 submissions in July. What does this process look like? AZs will be ready on July 1st, and until AOIs close on July 15th, SACE is currently open for 2016. That's the same thing that's always happened for SACE. AOIs are the last people. The online learning. Pinnacle. This year, other methods will have to be coordinated with ADE to reconcile prior year data. We'll work with you. We'll work with you. We're not ignoring FY16. We just got to get through this. We got to get you off two systems and move on. We're not forgetting FY16. We will work with you. The error reports are still very difficult to interpret. Okay? Here's my conversation for you and the vendors. If you're receiving JSON, which is why they're hard to articulate, which means you're receiving computer code as an error report from the API or the integrity, then you need to have your vendor convert JSON into English. That's what it works. All right? So if it should say that this person is a female and you have them entered as a man, that's an error. I'm just giving an example. I don't even know if that's a fatal error. But we have done some looking at some of the fatal errors we were given for attendance, and we've turned them to warnings instead of fatal errors. Because one thing we've definitely noticed in AZs is there's too many ways to do attendance in the state. You guys do it differently. Well, guess what happens when you find out something? We're going to have to create some policy. And that's coming next year. Because you got to have one way, or else it's just too hard. So I get the errors are, and I think most of the vendors have fixed it. I don't know which vendors have not. I think Synergy's working on that still. Am I wrong or right? Is the error, it's still receiving JSON? Okay, they know it and they're working on it. So work with your vendors, but it should be English. That's how APIs work. If you're reading computer code, I know why you're beating your head on the wall. But we communicate between computers and computer language. Yes, sir.
Mark, we have a question over here first. Hang on just a moment.
Okay.
Okay, when do we have to do our first sync for next year? Can we wait till school starts, or do we have to do one in July?
It's 20 days after school start, right, by the law?
Yeah, I just want to make sure that hasn't changed.
No, it has not.
Okay, thank you.
But remember, it's harder to keep track of stuff if you let time go by. And this system, talk to people that are on it, that have been on it a long time. Don't talk to Norm about how much pain he felt. Is Norm here? There he is. Don't ask him that. Just ask him how easy it is to manage AZs versus 6. But managing both sucks. Right?
So is there a simple way to know when AZ is having issues? You mentioned earlier that, Chandler came on this week and that caused a period of of where it was kind of maxed out, 50 minutes till
You
wrapped up.
shouldn't have seen it unless you're sitting there looking at the screen. I'm managing it.
Because I have some errors that I couldn't figure out that make sense about the right time frame, and the number of errors make sense for that, communication issues. And so I should know that to be.
It could have been collisions, but I've spun up a whole other bag.
And so do you anticipate that same issue as you bring more?
And I'll continue to spin up. I can spin up unlimited servers. I've just got some cash because it costs money. Microsoft loves it when I hit the button. Cha-ching.
On the error report for AZES, it has 1, 2, 3. Is it 3 days, 2 days, or your errors?
I don't have that. I really need somebody that
Where
can.
can I look?
But I think that we need to take your, that's one of those questions you want to get him specifically, so I can get you a specific answer. Because I'm not smart enough, I'm the dumb guy. I really need to shadow some of you guys in your life, if I had time, so I really could understand your pain. And believe it or not, in my last life, in DHL, I used to ride with drivers. Why would I ride with a driver? What's causing you trouble? Because that's where revenue is. And I had to fix it. So I'd love to do ride-alongs, but let's get through this period and then start understanding.
You said our SIS is our checkbook, right? Are other systems capable of being certified and also being a second checkbook for us, i.e.
IE Pro is certified,
So I would have two checkbooks.
yes, for those that have that complication. That have two people certificate. They were certified. So this is the question that as we certify them, there is a challenge with some third parties, not that one. And I don't want to dive into that. But a third party that wants to hand out CSV files, we won't accept the certification. It has to be a secure, lockdown XML transaction. Because why? What can you do with a CSV file? Edit it. Which means that your system's not the source anymore, because somebody changed stuff. And I'm going to let Randall talk reports in a few minutes to very clarify this, and don't kill him with questions. Just generally talk about, because all my team, so you know, is under strict instructions on what they can say. So don't hit mommy and daddy and then auntie and uncle and grandma and grandpa to get the answer you're looking for. We want one answer for everybody. And it's not that I don't trust them, but I gotta have everybody coordinate off on it. Because I'm not the smartest guy in the room. You know stuff that I don't know. Ask us general questions. Please explain the purpose of providing EdFi IDs to guardians, responsible party. In the old, I'll read this. Responsible party will be used as part of a matching algorithm in the future in order to eliminate duplicates. It was in the old algorithm. We took it out in order to facilitate not having as many challenges. We're going to put it back in. This matching algorithm for unique student ID is the most complex thing all 50 states deal with. All 50 states, except for Georgia, who uses Social Security number, is the hardest. So we're going to go back. How does AZEDS handle private placement schools? Has this information been shared with vendors? Yes, the information has been shared with the vendor and it's posted on the website with a shared link. The LEA must add the private schools calendar to the district SIS using the loaded private schools calendar. District then uses ASCUS to enroll these students. If you're going to ask any more specific questions on that, you have to give me more questions. I really love your website because they can ask those questions there. Makes you guys busy, I'm sorry. But at least we get them documented and then get answers for them. Because that one I think we could dive into a hole and never come out. How does AZEDS handle JTED? ADA is working with JTEDs as we speak to work out a unified process and make it easier. We have lots of JTEDs, every one of them does it different. Another problem, why do we do things different? When banks communicate to each other, they have one protocol. Doesn't matter what company it is or whatever, it's a protocol. That's what we're trying to move the state to, standard protocols. In the short term, that's going to cause us challenges. I'm just saying. Because all required STCV is sent to AZs, LEAs will not need to submit a file separately, correct? Correct. STC,
Share.
the data,
Next year.
yeah, next year. We're done. But you get
They'll
to
have
turn,
to do EOI.
but this is it. Remember I promised you that. It's it. Next. Oh, I have this. Okay, I've tried to answer questions as we went through this, and you've been very patient, and you've been a great audience. If I could personally write hand thank you notes, you know, Jimmy Kimmel. Dear so-and-so, thank you for putting up with this year. Next year will be better. Next year will be better. This year sucks. We still have how many more months of this year? Two and some. I appreciate your patience. It will be better. If you really use this system as it's designed, your labor will be less and you can focus on other things. That's my objective. And if you guys are finding that's not true when you're out there, Norm, in your opinion, do you find that is going to be true? If you don't have SACE is gone. That's the assumption.
So we focus on just one system.
Will it be easier than managing how SACE was?
Yes,
Once we kill SACE, I'm going into next year. But SACE won't be killed for 3 years. And why? 9/15. So, but you don't need to worry about it though. That's my nightmare. Let's just hope that we figure out how to do a 9/15 process before SACE doesn't come back. And that's supposed to be done next year. Question?
Okay, I like the idea of getting to the end and being able to possibly then clean up SACE and SACE Online. However, my question is, I've worked real hard to make SACE clean before my transition, which started yesterday.
So do you want us to turn off AZs?
That's my question is, I mean, I saved all my reports, I reconciled, I was pretty clean, cleaner than I've ever been this time of year in SACE. Should I just turn off the AZ to Ed SACE now?
I don't want to be the answer to that. I would ask people who really understand that have done this, okay? Not me. So please, if you could take that, we'll write this question down and we'll go back. But I think your peers in this room will probably have a better answer than me.
just to follow up on that.
What's your CIS?
Edge Point, Senator.
But what is the specific process an LEA has to follow to get easy ed SACE?
It's part of the discussion of the transition.
What if I've already transitioned? We need to contact.
Then you still need to contact us. And we'll work that.
You,
Work with school finance and they'll get it to us.
So in other words, I should stop all mass uploading until I communicate with my vendor and with school finance. I mean, I've done one school, my smallest elementary, mass upload.
I don't want to, we're going to take that as a good question for school finance to answer.
So
If
put
I
the
could,
brakes
if I
on.
could take off the hat, I'd give you another answer, but I can't. So
I just need to put the brakes on until I talk to other people.
well, if you've cleaned up your data, and you feel very confident,
Well, confident, I mean, I still am gonna compare my data in the end, and if my SACE was not as clean as
then
I
you can,
thought it
then you can
was,
fix it manually.
but I would hate to see it crash and do all that in SACE
No, but
Online.
what the benefit is what I'm building with SACE 2.
Yeah, I get that, and that's a good deal.
So you have to make the decision, along with your peers and vendors.
just follow up on that. our concern is that we're not going to get the data complete and accurate in AZS.
In SACE or AZS?
In AZS. I've already transitioned to AZS. Definitely have legitimate concerns that I'm not going to get the data complete and accurate in AZS.
And that is because of us or vendor?
Mostly vendor issues, but I'm going to tell you that my vendor's working very hard with you and they don't get the answers they need. So they are stalled on providing a solution because they can't.
I don't think that's the answer.